Well, the initial implication is relatively straightforward. If you have to pay a 50% tariff on copper imports, then the cost of your import goods go up by at least 50%. Now, we're not quite there yet. I think the market is very slowly getting towards that 50%, but already now, even though the tariffs are not in place, you have to pay a 25-30% markup.
But I'm wondering, and of course we were highlighting there how some business executives are already raising their concerns about what this will mean for their businesses, but I'm trying to see what is the other side of the story. Who could actually be benefiting from this announcement?
Look, I think the play of President Trump is very straightforward. I think he effectively takes money out of the pockets of a lot of consumers, a lot of manufacturers, and tries to put it in the pocket effectively of the producers. And by doing that, I think the objective is to start rebuilding a US supply chain. Now, it has been more successful on the steel, where we also have tariffs. On the aluminum side, we are at the starting point. On the copper side, we have had very few announcements, I think so far, but it's still relatively early day on the copper side as well, though.
Michael, lovely to see you, by the way. We've been chatting for many years over different issues. So look, I'm a bit dumb, so let's just start off with basics. I think the US uses about 1.8 million tonnes a year of copper, of which around about 1.1 million is domestic production, about 0.7 is international, which is getting towards that 50% tariff. There is an argument that actually the 1.1 million isn't going to stay 50% cheaper than the other. In fact, if anything, those copper producers, in order to get more production going, are going to increase their prices. Is that a fair assumption?
No, it's a fair assumption. I think if you're a trader at the moment, you basically tell your consumer, like, look, you can either import the copper, pay 50%.
The foreign stuff, or you can buy the cheap American stuff, in which case the arb is going to close towards the top end, not at the bottom end, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw on the aluminum tariffs actually between 2018 and 2024. So you had Canadian aluminum actually coming for free, duty exclusive to the US, but you still had to pay the tariff.
US copper producers are going to make hay. You buy them on the market, but everyone else who uses it. So if you're building AI infrastructure, you're building EVs, you're building fibre lines, whatever it may well be, anyone who is using copper is going to pay a higher price in the United States. That seems crazy policy to me, if you're looking to make America great again.
Look, I think it's a question of how long the long term effectively is. So if you're looking over the next 5 to 6 years, yes, and Trump always says that, look, there's short-term pain, but if you're hoping to rebuild a supply chain, and some of those copper projects take years to bring online, then you have to start somewhere. And yes, someone will have to pay the cost for that. We hear that already now in the construction industry, that contractors are putting in price escalation clauses.
So this is fabulous news, not for anyone building anything in America. It's fabulous news for the rest of us, though, isn't it? Because we're going to get an oversupply of product as those international copper tonnage needs to find another home.
I think we have had very clear indication from the producers exactly along those lines, and the miners are basically say, look, we have got a set of customers who want to pay the tariff, they're going to get the copper. The customers who don't want to pay the tariffs, well, look, the market outside the US is actually interested in those units as well. So we're just going to send it somewhere else. So yes, and we have the same discussion actually on the aluminum side as well, that we might see some units being diverted. But again, coming back to the premium that the US consumer then ultimately has to pay. Demand is actually still there. So if you wanted to attract those units back into the US market, you have to give the producers the incentive to actually send it there. And that means that prices have to at least price in a 50% tariff, potentially a little bit more, to attract those units into the US market.